Hey everybody, this is Uncle Steve here in Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. Let's get right into week 13 NFL picks for the season. Of course, we have the Atlanta Falcons who are going into a crucial game against the Pittsburgh Steelers here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. We'll get to them in a second. Let's get to the rest of the schedule on week 13. The Green Bay Packers go into Chicago to play the Bears. Aaron Rodgers, of course, sustained injuries last week. Is he or isn't he? Sounds like he is going to play for a game that probably isn't about a lot right now because Green Bay is so far behind the Vikings in the division, and I'm not sure if they'll be even able to catch up from a wild card standpoint. So this is kind of like a pride thing for the oldest rivalry in the NFL. Chicago, Justin Fields still nursing some injuries there as well. Whether Justin was there or not, I still think Aaron Rodgers, if he's going to play, is enough to beat the Bears this week. Look for Green Bay to march into Chicago and get that win. The Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off of a very exciting win against the Baltimore Ravens, go into Detroit. And Detroit, don't get it twisted, Detroit is playing much better ball than they have the last couple of years. Coach Dan Campbell has them in a good place, and I think that home field advantage will stand up for Detroit. Look for Detroit to knock off Jacksonville at home. The New York Jets, with newly anointed quarterback Mike White, goes on the road into Minnesota. Minnesota, who is right there with the Philadelphia Eagles, just waiting for them to slip, hopefully, so they can possibly have a chance at that number one position. I don't see any reason Minnesota will let this game slip by. They're going to take out the Jets traveling this week. The Washington Commanders, after a very hard-fought win against the Atlanta Falcons last week, traveled to New York to battle the New York Giants. And all of a sudden, this becomes one of those games where if the Commanders can win, they can jump up in that wild card position ahead of the Giants. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Giants are playing decent ball right now, even though they lost one of their receivers last week. I think at home, the Giants stand a good chance of coming out on top against the Commanders in this one. The AFC South leading Tennessee Titans go to Philadelphia and play the high-flying Eagles. This game is probably going to be a little bit closer than you think. It always seems like Tennessee plays, when it comes to important games, they always play pretty tough. Even if that's the case, I think Philadelphia is just on one of those rolls right now. They know the number one seed, which means the first round bye, is in sight. Look for the Philadelphia Eagles to take care of their business at home in a close-fought fight in Philly. The Denver Broncos travel to Baltimore. Baltimore has that nasty taste in their mouth after the loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And boy, Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. So many side topics off the field with Denver. They just have not gotten it done this year. It'll be interesting to see in the offseason how things from a PR standpoint are played. Russell Wilson coming in has been a disaster in this first season. They'll go to Baltimore, and Baltimore is going to steamroll Denver in this particular game. Cleveland, welcome back Deshaun Watson to the NFL. Deshaun, after serving an 11-game ban for things off the field, finally comes back. And who does he come back to play? He goes to his old stomping grounds down in Houston to play the Houston Texans. I think this is going to be a game that you're going to see the Texans kind of raise up a little bit in this. This is going to be a hard-fought game, but at the end of the day, I think Deshaun Watson is just way too much right now for the Houston Texans. So look for them to take that game, the Cleveland Browns, to go on the road and beat Houston. The Seattle Seahawks travel to Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams, boy, oh boy, have they kind of fallen off. I know injuries have taken their toll with them, and no excuse, Super Bowl champs, do what they got to do. But I think in this particular case, Seattle is in a very good spot for one of the wild card positions. I look for Seattle to go to LA and pull off, even as downtrodden as the Rams are. I think that's still a little minor upset because the Rams defense really haven't been looking as good either. And what should be the marquee game of the week, the Miami Dolphins travel west to probably the hottest team in the NFC next to the Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers, who seem to be turning things around. Injured players are coming back. Defense starting to play well. McCaffrey a little bit banged up, but I think he'll still be able to take care of business. Elijah Mitchell is on the shelf, but I still think they have enough people on offense to take care of business in a hard-fought, down-to-the-minute game. Look for San Francisco to take out Miami at home. Kansas City travels to the Cincinnati to play the Bengals. The Bengals trying to make that playoff run similar to what they did last year. I think Cincinnati is one of those teams that you don't want to kind of overlook. I like Cincinnati in this game in an upset over the Kansas City Chiefs. Small upset, maybe by 3 points, but Cincinnati will take out Kansas City. The Los Angeles Chargers go to Las Vegas, and boy, what an exciting game that was for Vegas last week, winning on the 86-yard run from Josh Jacobs, being able to pull that out. Chargers are pretty hot themselves and found themselves right back into the wild card race. Not sure if they can catch Kansas City, but they do need to keep stockpiling the wins if they want to make the playoffs in a very competitive AFC. I look for the Chargers to go on the road to Vegas and take out the Raiders in that particular game. The Sunday night game this coming week, is the Indianapolis Colts against the Dallas Cowboys. The Colts coming off a miserable showing against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Matt Ryan right now just looking tired. Look like he is it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of the year with Matt Ryan. Will he call it a day? Will he give it another shot? I don't think he'll be with the Indianapolis Colts, especially for the money that they have to pay him. The Dallas Cowboys have some slight hopes of possibly trying to catch Philadelphia and doing what they can do to hopefully win that division. I don't see it happening, but this is going to be a game that should be pretty easy for Dallas with that very good defense led by Dan Quinn to take out the Indianapolis Colts. That one's not going to be close. And in a game of very much importance to the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints travel to Tampa Bay. Now, of course, for personal reasons, we want to see Tampa Bay lose this particular game. And for all practical purposes, it seemed like the way that Tampa's been playing, that New Orleans could go in there and get them. I have a sneaky suspicion that Tampa Bay is going to come to play this particular game. They know the deficiencies they've had with their offense. Their offense has let them down continuously this year. New Orleans has had Tampa Bay's number. They won 4 of the last 5 in the regular season. So this will be a tough fought game. I'm not even going to pick a winner because I don't like either one of the teams, even though it would behoove the Falcons to see Tampa Bay lose that game coming up. And last but not least, the game here in the ATL, the Pittsburgh Steelers come calling into Mercedes-Benz Stadium to play the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons at 5-7 still find themselves half a game behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a bye coming up next week. What a great way to go into the bye by being able to get this win against Pittsburgh. I look at Pittsburgh as a team that is solid. I think they can run the ball. Kenny Pickett, he's a rookie, but he's definitely made his connections with George Pickens this year, who should be in the running for AFC Rookie of the Year. I think right now, though, the Falcons probably will grind this one out. Look for the Falcons to run the ball on this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, wearing them down. This one might be a little bit more, people calling this a close game. I look at the Falcons to get at least a touchdown lead in this one and keep it. Look for the Atlanta Falcons to come out with a win that's not going to be an upset against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how we see it in Week 13. We will catch you all next week for our picks Until then, everyone have a great weekend. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Uncle Steve's Lounge. Like the channel, get the videos out in the YouTube universe. We appreciate you. Peace.